Okay, so I'm up and running again. So I've been looking into, some of those other alternative platforms that is not YouTube and controlled by Google, and some of those are some of the Bridion and apparently Odyssey or something like that. Odyssey, I think it's Odyssey. Odyssey apparently the Libra apparently has moved over to Odyssey, so everything. If you had a Libra thing, it goes over to Odyssey apparently, and and then of course I have 153news.net, which I still haven't tried because you need to, and I don't know in regards to my account anymore. Um, I had an account at some point, but it's kind of hard to. You have to talk to the guy, and the guy has a Gmail account as well, and yeah, well, anyway. But there are some alternative things that can't really be put on YouTube. Um, so I was sitting and also Vimeo. I looked into Vimeo. Then I uploaded the Poop Secret and Nazi Germany is a creation of the Vatican and all that. And of course, I have to be careful, I guess, on YouTube. And I guess they probably will censor me anyway. But yeah, can't say anything, right? And I have multiple videos here that YouTube will tick on in regards of the snake oil poison. This is Odyssey, Max, snake oil poison forever. We have the issue with the nonsense of the camera closing down, so we'll just take the other one. Oh, I just have some ananas here. Right, cool. So I'm just looking around and it looks actually pretty good on. Vimeo is a paid portal, so you can only, so that's pretty much out in the trash in some sense. But they haven't removed my videos, although they were not accessible, apparently because they made some new nonsense in regards of if everybody can see it or this and that and all that. So BitChute I was looking at for a short while, but I can't remember my password for my account either. The Odyssey or the Libra account I had, I can't access because I don't have the email anymore, and doesn't seem to be anyone I can contact, at least not like in first. So I'm not sure how that works out, but if there is there seems to be some kind of community guidelines. Well, that would be interesting. Why is it? This is not working so good. Give me a break. It removes the menu while Oh my, I'm too fat. Sorry, that's fatso. That's me. I should open. Well, there's people outside, so it's pretty noisy if I open it out. The hair is still. Well, maybe it's gone now. No, I think it's still around. It's moved a little, but I think the hair is over at the bushes or something. Now it's a little hard to see. I don't have the. But was that just a moment ago? That's a lot of good stuff, I don't use other things that is not possible on YouTube. So apparently Facebook has, everything else seems to be, okay on Facebook, but specifically Bridion, Facebook does not like that. Very interesting. HD Tyranny Never Been Born. I'm not sure what that is, but
Genesis lies in the very beginnings of life.
I see what it is. not sure.
You've got to pick up pocket. A juvenile subject under the parental control.
Mm-hmm.
By it. Whoever is possessed by it, and in turn is of.
I guess in regards to the system. Oh well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I now have 3 browsers turned on and see if I can move some of the tabs from Chromium to Chrome, which, I don't know if it's more stable, but at least Chromium is continually breaking. So, and of course I can't have so many tabs, so it tends to hide the tabs, so that's also annoying. Also have DuckDuckGo in regards to, HTML, light version, standard. Okay, well. I don't feel so good. Anyway, I wonder why they have closed the swimming holes now in the summer. I don't think they did that beforehand in regards of the. Now there's other places where you can swim, but I just wonder in regards to that other place where. Anyway, okay, search engine. So we also have DuckDuckGo. It has a HTML version and a light version without, both of them without Java. Search engines, DuckDuckGo. Because I really don't like what they have done in regards of the first search engine thing. Anyway, so we have Odyssey, and apparently I have my. Okay, so this is my car. Oh well. Anyway, I can't. Here we have, but I probably will get banned from it. I tend to be the disobey.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The American Debt Slave. I just got back from my first vaccinated funeral. A good friend of mine's mother from high school just died suddenly. Sure, she had complications and issues, but just in the last couple weeks, she wasn't feeling well, this and that, and I believe she was jabbed. She was double jabbed, and she wasn't feeling well, and they got her into a facility thinking that, okay, now she's going to get better, but then all of a sudden, died of cardiac arrest, ultimately. So, a lot of the family members there at the funeral were pretty much saying they were shocked on how it just happened so suddenly. I've been saying it since I was a kid. I had a dream when I was 10 years old that I'm going to live to 88. I'm going to see everyone I know and love die, and it's going to be starting with your parents. And my mother and my father died a year ago this month, and this is going to be epic, you guys. You wonder where all the staff shortages, why we can't find anyone to work. Yeah, it's because they're dead. So just keep that in mind. This could be a quiet genocide happening in the background that no one is talking about. And they say 5 billion people took the jab. So let's say half of those.
Wow, 5 billion. Are we talking like billion in regards of one way or the other way? In regards of billion, the US billion or the I guess European billion, because you have difference in regards of million, milliard, trillion. You don't have that in the US. So in regards of what is a billion, that's a good problem. That is a problem. I was talking about like 5 billion people in regards of 7 billion in total. So that would be 5 and 7 people that took it. every 5 in 7 people then took the vaccine. Is that what we have?
Those are placebos. So we're looking at a 2.5 billion guaranteed decrease in the next 2 to 5 years. It's already been 2 years, so we got another, 3 years left. So we got what, 23, 24, and Deagle says 2025. So you guys, I just want you to get ready for this because it is going to get a little gruesome. We could even have more car accidents, and it could happen exponentially to where the news won't be able to explain it, but by then it'll already be too late. When you depopulate this fast, the economy is going to crash. And I believe that's what they're going to use to...
Well, we can't even get access to things if we don't follow along in regards to the digital nonsense. So, and they do everything they can to move in that direction. Incredible how criminal it is, and people are just following along. Incredible. Lots of disgusting people in this world.
Actually,
It is true, So,
get in a new currency. They can't just collapse the currency without collapsing something else and having a cover-up of something. So I just want you to be prepared. If you have not seen my previous videos, I have been recording this and covering the pandemic since 2020. Please go back and re-scroll and look through those videos, look through my Odyssey channel, and pick up some videos and try to catch up. All right, you guys? And if you are on Odyssey, please share, repost this video, hit that little repost button for me, and like, subscribe, and sign up for my Telegram as well, and join the discussion and see if you want to do a podcast with me. And I want to get your 2 cents on what's going on with you. As I'm saying, I've just been documenting this thing since 2020, and
yeah, see here. We knew 4 people that died within 6 days of getting the shot. 5 others that were relatives of my friends or just people I knew casually. The people were produced, advertised for, sold, marketed, or had anything to do with putting this absolute, fucking shit poison into people. Well, it's not really, but anyway, should be charged with a minimum accessory to murder. And the ones at the top of this shit heap should be executed on live TV in front of the entire world. It's absolutely disgusting, that's for sure. And just no one is doing anything, And if they can, if they can do this, they can do anything, against the people. No one will go against them, They'll just further. They're already seen, the people are not going to step up against this, then it means they can pretty much do anything, They are in control. The devil has the world.
it's starting to get real. I mean, it's hitting my life, and I'm sure it's hitting yours.
Oh, yeah.
This is getting really weird. If you haven't seen my last video with that online date I went on last night, good God, dude. She texted me this morning, you scared the hell out of me. I'm like, yeah, pray. I suggest all of you do that too. All right, you guys, until next time, always remember, whether you're right or whether you're left, no matter what, taxation is theft.
Well, anyway, I don't know in regards of the Antichrist or anything like that, if he talks about... Oh, yeah. Anyway, that's on Odyssey or Odyssey or whatever. Sounds like it's Odin, right? Odin. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, at least it seems to allow things in regards of... we have either end of a video.
How to fill out the paperwork to stop withholding from your paychecks. Now, this doesn't mean that you can stop paying income taxes, actually, whatever you want to do with your money, but it means that you can stop the government or stop your employer from withholding income taxes from your paychecks, okay? That way, you can use that money to spend how you wish throughout the year, and then go about paying your tax.
Anyway, okay, we'll close that as well. Okay, BitChute, which wasn't really... There was some issues, yeah, that didn't work on my... And in regards to uploading things, and BitChute was just terrible in regards of one thing is, it doesn't matter how long it took, pretty much, if it just worked. But when you upload something and then it works sometimes, it doesn't work other times. It's just like, one thing is that if it's like, and if you want the order of the video and all that, it is terrible, So you have to wait for the one to work, right? And if you wait like a week and nothing happens, well, then you have to re-upload it, and just give me a break, So that was just terrible. I don't know in regards of Brighteon, if that's. Anyway, we have more Brighteon apparently. Truth be told.
Let alone realize it's almost exclusively run by.
I guess this is something like. So. 9/11, the truth in 5 minutes. The new move. Oh yeah, we have in regards of the truth movement. The new normal. Oh yeah.
Prince wasn't just a great musician. Apparently he was a purple Nostradamus in high heels as well. He said 2000 party over, oops, out of time. But tonight we're gonna party like it's 1999. How did he know it was gonna be all downhill from there? It's like he was saying, enjoy the rest of the 20th century because the new century isn't going to be pretty. 2020 has been a devastating year for human freedom. But looking back, there's been a totalitarian tiptoe creeping in from the opening bell of the 21st century, if we're being honest. This new normal started 20 years ago at the dawn of the 21st century, and I'm convinced it was very much on purpose. A hidden agenda to strip America of her most important birthright, liberty. But they had to convince the people to give it away willingly. The vampire has no power if you don't invite them into your home, after all. But it wouldn't work without the willing participant.
Well, liberty from what? From God's law? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, well. I've got them on a Brighteon now. Let's see here. We have 15 gigabyte of RAM used. Oh well. I don't think I've ever been up to maximum in regards to RAM use. So way too much RAM in this machine. It's just way overpowering. President of God is the Pope, the Antichrist. Let's see here. Oh, I can give it a thumbs up if I want, right? Although I'm not logged in on this one. Yeah, I need to log in. Log in. Okay, let's see here. What was my... That's a good question. Okay. Let's see if this works. Okay, well, maybe it's okay. I just connected from another one, so maybe I just need to, in regards to the... Okay, so if I use the username, then it works. Okay. I'm not sure how I really... How do I... I can't change the email, it seems, so I don't know about that. It seems like... So... let's push F5. Okay, let's see here. Maybe not. There we go. Logged in. President of God Ministry. Let's give it a like. For at least standing on the truth in regards to the papacy.
In the book of John, chapter 14, verse 29, we read,
Oh, it's hot.
And now I have told you before it come to pass, that when it come to pass, you might believe. Sadly, a normal fact of life is that most people only believe after a certain event takes place. The old worn-out comeback. I'll believe it when I see it. has been played out time
Doesn't
and
seem
time
to be
again.
so high. My God, so
Well, be prepared to actually see it
Oh.
here and now. But before doing so,
see if we can
some
get
ground
some.
rules must be laid out to prevent doubt.
There we go.
The Bible plainly instructs us that no prophecy of the Scripture is a
There we go.
private interpretation. 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 2.
That's pretty hot. To, even if the weather looks like it might actually begin to rain. So many, Is the Pope the Antichrist? Don't we already have that? Is the Pope the Antichrist? We have 2 of those apparently. Yeah, that's the same. Let's just close that down. Oh yeah. High temperature. Yeah. Oh yeah, I added. That's just terrible. But yeah, it's interesting to see these. These different. I think I can go with that instead of YouTube. Instead of all the news and nonsense of this disgusting, filthy, depraved platform that censors all the time. From Babylon to Rome, Vatican. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see here. Open that. That's another good video on Brighteon. So you just have to find some of the, or maybe the other way around. If I post some videos that also has a lot of truth, maybe some will find me and then I can find them, and
Publishers interest.
that'll be interesting. I just don't know in regards to the password on BitChute, so that's a problem. Here we have one of those. We'll just make some more here move them over to the other browser here. Autoplay is really annoying, but I don't know. I guess you might need a plugin or get a plugin that can actually stop that. So. Jesuit Matrix decoded. Oh yeah, I actually didn't search on the Jesuits actually. That could be interesting actually to search on the Jesuit on this, but no. Brighteon. I'll search on the Jesuits and see what we get. Jesuits inventing history. Jesuits destroy Japan. Jesuits converso, Vatican. Okay, Jesuits erasing flat Earth. No. Jesuits are the one promoting the flat Earth nonsense, but that's Johnny Gurici, which. And again, Jesuits erasing flat Earth. How are the Jesuits erasing flat Earth when the Jesuits are the one promoting this nonsense? Anyway, that seems to be a good amount of pages on that as well. Again, and when you search, why doesn't it show more than I'm Paisley? You can find a lot of good stuff, that's for sure. The Jesuits and the Counter-Reformation, who is that? It's a good amount of stuff here, which you don't usually find on YouTube. Oh, Bread of Life, 14 subscribers. He has something in regards to the Jesuits as well. That's very nice.
Introduction to the Christian faith. It gives people an opportunity to explore big life questions, and it looks great. Fuels commitment of a long-time Christian.
I still don't understand. There's so many uploaders of different things, and yet you don't see any likes. And you don't see any messages in a lot of the videos, you see 0 comments and all that. And I'm like, there's a lot of videos around here, but there doesn't seem to be much going, there's not much, there's not much writing, going on. I don't know what that is about, but so. Mystery Babylon Extended Edition. Okay. Kenya West Templar Freemason Connection. Poop's Protocols of Zion, the Priory of Zion or some. Okay. Well, that's there's huge amount of actually when you begin to dig down on these different platforms. Maybe not on, but those 3 platforms seem to have a good amount of. I guess people are somewhat waking up. At least if you go outside of Facebook, and YouTube. I have so much. I have way too much open, Oh, I have more open here. You just give me a break. Why have I opened so many? So many. It's like hours and hours of the truth movement here. Let's close that down as well. We have another one. Let's open that one. Close that. Let's just get all the Brighteon over here, I think. In one browser. "9/11: The Truth in 5 Minutes."
On the morning of September 11th, 2001, 19 men armed with box cutters directed by a man on dialysis in a cave fortress halfway around the world using a satellite phone and a laptop directed the most sophisticated penetration of the most heavily defended airspace in the world, overpowering the passengers and the military combat trained pilots on 4 commercial aircraft before flying those planes wildly off course for over an hour without being molested by a single fighter interceptor. These 19 hijackers, devout religious fundamentalists who like to drink alcohol, snort cocaine, and live with pink-haired strippers, managed to knock down 3 buildings with 2 planes in New York. While in Washington, a pilot who couldn't handle a single-engine Cessna was able to fly a 757 in an 8,000-foot descending 270-degree corkscrew turn to come exactly level with the ground, hitting the Pentagon and the Budget Analyst Office where DoD staffers were working on the mystery of the $2.3 trillion that Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld had announced missing for the Pentagon's coffers in a press conference the day before, on September 10th, 2001. Luckily, the news anchors knew who did it within minutes.
Osama bin Laden.
The pundits knew within hours.
Osama bin Laden.
The administration knew within the day.
Terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbored them.
And the evidence literally fell into the FBI's lap.
That a hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
But for some reason, a bunch of crazy conspiracy.
True. Like, passport. Passport survived, yeah. Flying out of the airplane, there we go. We have the suspects, right? Wasn't there something in regards to the Russian passport as well in regards to, was that the joke that someone made? Yeah, it's just, I don't know. That's just insane. Oh, we have Brandy's Awakened Spitz friend speaks out. Oh, that's an hour long, but yeah, she'll probably murder as well. They tend to.
Theorists demanded an investigation into the greatest attack on American soil in history.
Yeah, we should.
That investigation was delayed, underfunded, set up to fail, a conflict of interest, and a cover-up from start to finish. It was based on testimony extracted through torture, the records of which were destroyed. It failed to mention the existence of WTC-7, Able Danger, P-TECH, Sibel Edmonds, OBL and the CIA, and the drills of hijacked aircraft being flown into buildings that were being simulated at the precise same time that those events were actually happening. It was lied to by the Pentagon, the CIA, the Bush administration. And as for Bush and Cheney, well, no one knows what they told it because they testified in secret, off the record, not under oath, and behind closed doors. It didn't bother to look at who funded the attacks because that question is ultimately of little practical significance. Still, the 9/11 Commission did brilliantly answering all of the questions the public had, except most of the victims' family members' questions, and pinned blame on all the people responsible, although no one so much as lost their job, determining the attacks were
Failure of imagination.
because
Nobody in our government, at least, and I don't think the prior government could envision flying airplanes into buildings.
except the Pentagon, FEMA, NORAD, and the NRO. The DIA destroyed 2.5 terabytes of data on Able Danger, but that's okay because it probably wasn't important. The SEC destroyed their records on the investigation into the insider trading before the attacks, But that's okay, because destroying the records of the largest investigation in SEC history is just part of routine record keeping. NIST has classified the data that they used for their model of WTC7's collapse, but that's okay, because knowing how they made their model of the collapse would jeopardize public safety. The FBI has argued that all material related to their investigation of 9/11 should be kept secret from the public, but that's okay because the FBI probably has nothing to hide. This man never existed, nor is anything he had to say worthy of your attention, and if you say otherwise, you are a paranoid conspiracy theorist and deserve to be shunned by all of humanity. Likewise him, and her, and her, and her, and him. Osama bin Laden lived in a cave fortress in the hills of Afghanistan, but somehow got away. Then he was hiding out in Tora Bora, but somehow got away. Then he lived in Abbottabad for years, taunting the most comprehensive intelligence dragnet employing the most sophisticated technology in the history of the world for a decade, releasing video after video with complete impunity and getting younger and younger as he did so, before finally being found in a daring SEAL team raid which wasn't recorded on video, in which he didn't resist or use his wife as a human shield, and in which these crack special forces operatives panicked and killed this unarmed man, supposedly the best source of intelligence about those dastardly terrorists on the entire planet. Then they dumped his body in the ocean before telling anyone about it. Then a couple dozen of that team's members died in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. This is the story of 9/11, brought to you by the media which told you the hard truths about...
His head could be seen to move violently forward.
And...
They took the babies out of incubators.
And...
Mobile production facilities.
And...
The rescue of Jessica Lynch.
If you have any questions about this story, you are a batshit, paranoid, tinfoil, dog-abusing baby hater, and will be reviled by everyone. If you love your country and or freedom, happiness, rainbows, rock and roll, puppy dogs, apple pie, and your grandma, you will never ever express doubts about any part of this story to anyone. Ever. This has been a public service announcement by the Friends of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DIA, SEC, NSM, White House, NIST, and the 9/11 Commission. Because ignorance is strength.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, a comedy summary of the 9/11 official story. I'll give it a like. That's a, of course, it was Yep. 3 buildings and 2 planes. Equal. Yep, that's a comment. But I don't understand why all these comments are not, why is there no comments on these videos? Like 162 views and yet not a single well, I think I'll subscribe for this guy, just to, we have to have some kind of start, right? I guess this person tried to make some videos and start up, and I guess he didn't really get so far again, anyway, he might, the person might come back. Apparently this Brandy Vacan ex-farmer insider sales down legislate mandate. Apparently it's also, I don't even need, I thought, maybe I should upload that for the Brighteon, right? But she's so many videos in regards of her, so apparently that's the place. I wonder if I search on Facebook, no, sorry, YouTube. Let's see on YouTube, see how many we actually get of those, or if they have actually censored, or maybe search on Google and see. Oh, you gotta be kidding me in regards to the copy paste. Okay, let's try. Go. What? What do you call it? So if you actually search on Brandy Wacken on YouTube, you get Brandy breaks it down. 5 things you need to know about vaccinations. Vaccines prevents diseases eradicated in the U.S. So you actually get the totally opposite. Okay, let's see here. There was another woman that also died, but can't remember what her name was. Interesting to see the first one, like, you know, vaccines prevents.
Tonight in an NBC News exclusive, a nurse who became an unwilling icon of the anti-vaccination movement is finally breaking her silence. It all started at CHI Memorial Hospital in Chattanooga, Tennessee, back in December 2020. The very first COVID vaccines were being rolled out, and as frontline worker, Nurse Tiffany Dover was one of the first in line. But when she fainted live on camera, less than 20 minutes after getting the shot, she was propelled into the anti-vax misinformation movement. People claimed she had died from the shot, that the hospital was trying to cover it up, and it was all part of some global conspiracy. In the podcast, Truthers, Tiffany Dover is Dead, NBC News senior reporter Brandy Zadrozny tracked how the story morphed and grew in the dark corners of the internet. But the one person Brandy couldn't find to talk about what actually happened to Tiffany Dover was Tiffany Dover herself. Until now.
For years now, there's been this very active community sort of telling your story, telling stories about you. What's your message to that community now?
My message is simple. It is that I am alive. I'm alive, I'm well. That's it. I hope they believe it.
Brandy Zadrozny joins me now, and of course, the way these things go, people are going to watch that and think that you faked that too.
Oh, absolutely.
What happened here? You actually did this whole story and a whole podcast thinking you'd probably find her sooner than you did.
Sure. So December 2020, she lined up to get the shot. She fainted. She got back up. And that would have been the end of that. But something about her, something about the timing, something about the moment just propelled her into one of the biggest conspiracy theories I've ever looked at.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Still, that's, you know, searching on Brandon. Well, yeah, how to pronounce Brandon. You gotta be kidding me. That's. So I'm searching on Brandy Wacken, and then I'm getting nothing. Okay. Oh yeah, the mystery of Brandy Wacken. You know someone was watching. Oh yeah, that's 2 years ago. Okay, so. Well, that was
hey guys. If something were to happen to me, I have arranged for a group of my friends to start a GoFundMe to hire a team of private investigators to figure out all of the details. I have the team and I have passed the info on to them. Oh, and money for a PR firm to make it national news. There would be a press release sent to every journalist in this country and more. It would not be swept under the rug, and it would be their worst nightmare. 9, there have been many on this mission or a similar one that have been killed, and it's time to stop this bullshit. Darkness cannot win. 10, I will never stop speaking out for those who no longer can, even if from the other side where I imagine I would be.
Yeah. They killed her? Brandy Wacken's best friend speaks out. But that, in regards of Brighteon, that's a good amount if you actually search. All vaccines are bad, yeah. That was another woman I haven't seen since, who was found dead in the chef. I don't know what it's called. Incredible. Anyway. And that was before she died. And then of course we have the Mohammedan guy that's not dead. That's the last one as far as I know. So yeah, they don't mind killing people. Yeah, no problem at all. Killing them, hurting them, oh yeah, they love it. Love doing the devil's work. They kill the weakest in society in regards to children. Oh yeah, the devil runs this world. It's incredible, this it runs around all the time. That's a pretty much good amount of. It hasn't rained yet. Okay, we have a lot of researcher Karen Kingston reveals COVID-19 vaccines to be deliberate biological weapons. Well, yeah. The only doctor brave enough to tell you this, Dr. Brian Ardis. So much these days. So much insanity going on. So disgusting. It's like, you don't have time for looking into all these things, right? That just so much.
Hard to feel safe and secure, but I am not gonna go away. I mean, I'm not gonna be silenced because these are important issues and we need to expose what's really going on behind the mandatory vaccination bills. It has nothing to do with public health. It has everything to do with profit. And I hope that we can all continue this fight.
Yeah, I think she gave her life for the truth.
Hopefully by documenting this intimidation.
I see here.
Reporting on clinical trials of Vioxx, a Merck employee was in talks about, why don't you go us?
When I heard about SB 277 in California, I decided,
Anyway, that's a whole hour in regards of this woman, Brandy Beckens. I still can't remember the other woman who was going after these criminals, and then she was found hanging out in her, it's incredible, disgusting system we live in. Yeah. It's incredible because there's so much video out there, Apparently, even if they don't control Google, YouTube, and control Facebook and all that, you have to incredible, I have that in regards to smoke screens. That part one, okay. There's a huge amount of information out there, and actually, of course, there's a lot of bullshit as well, right? But yeah. This is from the Mormon guy, I have that on my videos, on my.
Shoots the Pope and
it's not everything that he points out that is correct, but.
And what do we got here in the?
He has a lot of things.
Because he was representing the Holy Roman Empire.
And that's an old video of some guy that collected like a whole thing of huge amount of stuff, so apparently DVD 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. Apparently it's on BitChute apparently also. Apparently those are promoting something in regards of yeah, okay. Is this on Brighteon? Okay, let's just like it and subscribe, I guess. Liberty TV. It's like overwhelming amount of information. Oh yeah, I didn't try, what let's see here. Vimeo, right? We want to try Vimeo. And see what we can find in regards to these things. I don't think we can find much, but let's try. Would be interesting to see what Vimeo would do if you actually upload it and vaccine. Let's see here. If they actually would close you down. Why do you search? Is there no search or something like that? Vimeo. Start for free, see how it works. Well, I guess I would like to do a search. Okay. I don't get this. Is there no search function or contact, price, search? No. I don't see any search. Oh yeah, okay, so you actually need to be logged in to be able to search. Are you kidding me? So who's ever going to find your videos on this platform? Yeah. You could say killed in action, right? In some sense, killed in action for the truth. Anyway, let's see here if we can find the download maybe here. Let's try to okay, select rating, all audience. And so what? How do I do it? I don't know. Oops. Oh, yeah, we can get the default, you know. Why didn't they just fix it as a default in regards of, so you could actually see the videos without? I feel tired. Okay, but anyway, so what happens now? I don't know. Oh, it's optimizing, then what now? Oh, okay. Great, so it's kind of fixed. That was pretty quick.
Okay. We talk about the pharmaceutical reps. What if you're a brilliant mom, okay, and I got pictures of her kid. Her kid is like ridiculously cute.
Let's see here.
Interactions and things like that. You don't work in that industry and then think, oh, you know what, it's going to be really fun to speak out against them. You know, like, I can't wait. That's my goal one day. But, sorry about that.
Okay.
When I realized working at Merck, and then...
Get more storage on, yeah, well, whatever, all this nonsense. just change this. I need one an X Farmer Insider. It's nice to see where, you know, pretty much a lot of the truth have gone to other places on the internet. That's nice. Yeah, I don't know, where do you search in regards to this? Oh yeah, okay. And search on Antichrist. So do you need to be logged in to be able to search, you know? You can't search without having an account, you know? It's just, are you kidding me? It doesn't really, well there's some, but there's a falsehood in regards of the so-called Islamic Antichrist. It's just bullshit. Anyway, let's search. Oh my. Yeah, it's the signs of the... Yeah, no. That's an Antichrist Mr. 666 video apparently on Vimeo.
Hey everybody, welcome to our study today. It's going to be exciting, and I'll tell you the reason why. It's something you're going to know about, and that is the Antichrist, or maybe we can call him Mr. 666. Everybody seems to be aware of the number 666, but very few people can tell you why they know that number, why they've heard of it, or why they've seen it on things. But the Antichrist, listen, he's going to introduce to the world, listen, a cashless system, says the Bible in the book of Revelation chapter 13. He's going to be one who implements a system to whereby we're...
Yeah, we're already moving in that part, right? Or in that direction. But of course the Antichrist is the papacy. It's just, you know, a further... It doesn't really, okay, it doesn't seem like you can search without an account apparently on Vimeo. Doesn't need, you know, you don't get into a search thing apparently. As far as I can see, screen recording, live streaming, no. It just doesn't show anything in regards of, so you need to be logged in to actually see the, well at least, or you need the direct link. Oops. Oh no. Reopen close tabs. And reopen close tabs. Oh, did I lose? Oh yeah, okay. Reopen close tabs. Reopen close. Apparently changed also to okay. I now have 3 browsers with a huge amount of tabs and hours and hours and hours of videos, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. I guess my video player is still the best way to actually compare to all the rest of the pages, and of course I have full control of that. Oh well, I need to pee. I'll be right back. Too much of all that water thing. A lot of the things of the fruit and all that you get goes right to your system. I guess the coffee as well doesn't help on it. We have Mike Adams apparently. Mike Adams is building an alternative reality online. What are you talking about? Just
that we can all continue this fight.
I just was thinking, there's no reason why someone would be putting this information out there unless it's true. Because there's no good. The state, she's loved California. Who are they to try to tell me what to do?
anyway, yeah, she's just one of the truthers. Bad Gateway News Media. Okay, we have library. DuckDuckGo. I still don't know how Odysseus or whatever Odyssey really do the thing. Oh, here we have Rulers of Evil Part 1 in regards to the Jesuits on A Plain Truth in regards of 153 News. Yeah, it's nice to see that we actually, yeah. Yeah. Other than the world, out with this Google, YouTube. What is this? The Mystery of Brandy. Oh yeah, that's.
Words, I'm not saying.
Like, why do women put so much paint on themselves, it's just disgusting, and they fill them up with all those kind of insanities and all that. It's just I just keep on going. Here we have my BitChute. We have one of those that stood against the I have 153 news. We have we have some of this. We can put that over here. Unfinished for sure. That was the good thing with the. Oh yeah, that's in regards of the. Okay. Apparently it's like 4. As far as I recall, I have it on in my play as well in regards of. Now, why do I have 2? Oh, okay. There we go. Well, 15.3 gigabyte of RAM used. Well, I guess the browsers are 1,000 years of peace on earth. That's when Jesus comes back. That's Brian again.
They were equal and called for more, Michael.
Yeah, I'm getting way over much, of stuff. Wow, that's a good amount of stuff on these other platforms for sure. That I'm totally overwhelmed. That's lots of good stuff in regards to the Antichrist and all that. And vaccines and all that. So I don't even know where to begin. Putting some gas out might be not a bad idea, I have A Plain Truth. More in regards to Plain Truth. Jesuit Rulers of Evil Part 1. I have a Vimeo. Oh no. Push that wrong. Let's go back. Mr. Antichrist.
Hey everybody, welcome to our study today. It's going to be exciting. I'll tell you the reason why. It's something you're going to know about.
Let's go moving forward.
Name, image, you can pick. Like going to the mall. How would you like to have your version, take a pick, of being associated with me, the Antichrist. And here's the reason why you're going to want to be my buddy. I've stopped the wars. I'm pretty famous for that. I fixed the global economy. This is how. Global debt reached an all-time high among all nations.
No. Okay, let's see here. So we have Brighteon. I need to use Brighteon a little to see how that works out, and also in regard to the mobiles, of course, see how they actually, these different platforms actually looks on the mobile. In regards of,
I have nothing against you.
oh, that's the airplane guy. It's like reopen, close tabs to the. Like maybe open, reopen, close tabs. Let's see. No, okay. Close that again. So what do I wanna listen to? Is the so much? Is the Pope the Antichrist? Yeah, he is. Is the Pope the Antichrist? That's another one of the same one. Yeah. Same link as well. Okay. That's interesting. Apparently you can't post anything from Brighteon on Facebook. Very interesting. Jesuit Matrix decoder. Alright. Oh, what is this?
It is time for you to know.
A Jesuit and the Counter-Reformation Part 2. Let's see here. Truth should be told. That's half an hour. The Truth Movement. Let's see here. I already see. Pandemic to the movie, the Truth Movement, all that. Again, the problem is the Truth Movement is infiltrated with so much. Gospel of Jesus Christ, the Truth Movement. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see here. There we go with I always see advertising. I just hate that. But I just, and even if it's it's just, oh, give me a break with the advertising. So this is on Brighteon. Apparently that's advertising.
The gospel message.
I just, okay, yeah, but it's just, even if it's, I just, well, you can say at least it's something for the better in some sense, right? But it's still advertising.
God and heaven as holy. Holy just means perfect. Now it's really important to understand that God can't let anything imperfect into heaven. Otherwise it just wouldn't be heaven. The Bible also says that all of us have a body and a soul. At death, our body is either buried or cremated. But our soul, which is the real you, lives on forever, either in heaven or hell.
No. Let's close that down. That's heaven and hell doctrine. Oh, absolutely nonsense. So, that's just, heaven and hell doctrine. You gotta be kidding me. All going to the realm of the dead and the living when we die. In the earth. Jesus, where was Jesus 3 days and 3 nights? He was in the inner earth. The new normal! Oh yeah, the insanity.
Prince wasn't just a great musician. Apparently.
Oh, it's just, Brandy Awaken. There's a lot of information about her. I'm just, okay. We have this one that was in regard to Liberty TV. So it seems like at least a good amount of people at least have, you know, when you search about it, it's not totally, you know. I'm not sure why ads. I guess maybe the other browser, maybe I had some kind of advertising against advertising, and I don't have it here apparently. Maybe that's the reason why there's advertising here and not. Oh my, there's advertising everywhere. Oh, maybe that's why people didn't wanna. Maybe that's why people don't write or anything like that. Wow. I just hate ads, you know. That's just totally. Maybe that was why I moved away from it. I feel much freer now that I'm certain the Pope is the Antichrist. Yeah. Martin Luther. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's have it. Let's see. Yeah, print screen. What? Oh, come on. Get it. I feel much freer now that I am certain that the Pope is the Antichrist. Yeah, okay, let's save that. Let's get that to Gap as well.
Announce to you that we have our Father. The world has
Satanist.
Now all of a sudden he's our Holy Father, and we're pledging him our love and our allegiance and our loyalty and our prayer.
Everyone says there hasn't been anyone like him. That's what's so fascinating. And people of all faiths want to touch him.
Yeah. Well, that's an appeal too. You know, we call him the Holy Father.
Holy Father, please forgive me.
Holy Father.
You'll hear that title used quite often.
Yep.
This man, Bergoglio, Francis the Talking Pope, his predecessors.
That guy that was just speaking does not believe that the papacy is the Antichrist.
John Paul II, Pope Benedict,
It's terrible.
John Paul I, Pope Paul, Pope John the 23rd, Pope Pius.
He's promoting the Jesuitical nonsense of the false prophet and all. Hey, give me a break, you know. The false prophet comes after the first beast. So how are you going to say, well, the Antichrist is in the future, when the second beast comes after the first beast? You know, it's just give me a break with the nonsense, right? Oh.
These men are replacement gods. And
but yeah, apparently, I guess I didn't have advertising on the other one here, so that was maybe why I didn't. Yeah, I just hate advertising. It's just disgusting. So I guess it's advertising are turned off, or turned on. No, turned off. Yeah. Okay.
News exclusive. A nurse who became an unwilling icon of the anti-vaccination movement is finally breaking her silence. It all started
silent, yeah. So why wouldn't she talk about, you know?
So you're gonna have to kind of guess, only because you know how YouTube gets with that whole thing, super annoying. Because there's a lot of stuff that they don't want you to talk about if you catch my drift. So if you guys are interested in these type of videos, make sure to subscribe, like, and let's get to it. So you're probably wondering who Brandy Vaughn is. If you haven't heard of her, I'm gonna do a little.
I really don't understand these women. Like, you know, soap. It's just it's just a painting, you know. She just overpainted everything, you know. Eyelashes or whatever it's called, and whatever this and that, and you know, yeah, it's disgusting. And they color their hair as well, so you can't see their real hair color and all. How are you going to actually know how she looks if you don't, you know, if they just overpaint themselves? Yeah, you can just put a mask on, pretty much, you know. Pretty much the same thing, you know, nearly. It's just, and the filters as well that they use, you know.
Who she is. That's
So they use filters to become more beautiful, so it doesn't show them. Yeah, just give me a break, you know. That's bullshit. You're
pretty much what
absolutely
makes
bullshit.
the story. She's a speaker and activist, best known for anti-V. You know what I'm talking about? Babies good when they're born, things like that. I don't want to say the word because, again, you know why. She's most well known for speaking out against pharmaceutical companies, huge corporations. She's the founder of the company Learn the Risk, but before she founded this company, she actually worked for Merrick between 2001 and 2004. And these years are what made the difference for her and what really led her on her journey to, you know, really speak up about this. After she left her job, she lived in Europe for 8 years with her son. She worked for the pharmaceutical company Merrick. She sold Vioxx,
we are so close to the end.
Found out that this painkiller doubled the risk for strokes and heart attacks. She's the one who really fought about getting this taken off the market, and that's when she ended her job there and didn't want to do it anymore. She quotes and she says, "From that experience, I realized just because something is on the market doesn't mean it's safe." I feel like this story really hits home because of everything that's going on right now. And of course, it's barely getting any media coverage, if any. And I think it should. When she came over from living in Europe, her son was free of the, you know what, all the, you know what I'm saying? And so she said she would go to pediatrician's office. They would bully her about that, and they would also bully her because she would ask, you know, what the ingredients are in the vaccine, and she really fought for, you know, normalizing, you know, being more informed and speaking up and asking. And now that I look back, I wish there was more that I asked about. She's also been quoting saying, how come children in other countries are way more healthier and receive far fewer, you know what, I can't speak on that and say if that's true or not because I'm not well traveled, but let me know if you agree with that below. She also goes on to say that much of what we are told by healthcare in the industry is just not true. Erin Elizabeth, which is the editor of Health Nut News, recalled meeting Vaughn a number of times in the past as well as interviewing her, and she quotes, "I have felt very concerned about her this year. I have not heard from her as much as usual and had inquired with her very close friends who said she was absolutely fine." Vaughn had apparently written to Elizabeth and said that she was afraid of being poisoned. Now this is what's wild. In December, Brandy ended up posting a long message on Facebook, and I'm going to read it to you. And it's long, so buckle up. The post I wish I didn't have to write. Now this is December 1st, 2019. But given certain tragedies over the last couple of years, I feel it's absolutely necessary to post these 10 facts, and please screenshot this for the record. 1, I've never had any thoughts of taking my own life, not once ever, even before I had my son. 2, I have a huge mission in this life, even when they make it very difficult and scary. I would never take my own life, period. 3, Bastian, which is her son, I'm assuming, means everything to me, and I would never leave him, period. I have sole custody, and he needs me as much as I need him. I would never think of leaving him for a second. 4, I have never been on antidepressants, nor have I been diagnosed or depressed. Don't believe it if you hear anything like this. 5, I have never taken a daily pharmaceutical drug, and I haven't taken any pharmaceuticals in 10 years, and 10 years ago it was 1 pill one day. Nothing over the counter, nothing by prescription. In other words, I'm not on anything that could possibly kill me unexpectedly or suddenly. I've never done illegal drugs either, not even once. 6, there's no way anyone could get into my house. No robbers, no angry exes, which I don't have, by the way. No fanatical people. My house is like Fort Knox, unless it was someone super professional. It just wouldn't be possible for anyone without highly special equipment and tactics, i.e. remotely taking down my high-level security system, which they have done before, unfortunately. But my place is also highly secured in a hard-wired kind of way, so even if the power was out, most people could still never get in. 7, if something were to happen to me, it is foul play, and you know exactly who and why, given my work and mission in this life. I'm not accident-prone, and I got the highest health rating possible when I went through a battery of medical tests a couple of years ago for my life insurance policy. 8, if something were to happen to me, I have arranged for a close group of my friends to start a GoFundMe to hire a team of private investigators to figure out all of the details. I have the team and I have passed the info on to them. Oh, and money for a PR firm to make it national news. There would be a press release sent to every journalist in this country and more. It would not be swept under the rug, and it would be their worst nightmare. 9, there have been many on this mission or a similar one that have been killed, and it's time to stop this bullshit. The darkness cannot win. 10, I will never stop speaking out for those who no longer can, even if from the other side where I imagine I would be way far more powerful. I have a team of angels surrounding me every step of this journey, but prayers of protection and love are always appreciated. Hashtag be brave, hashtag for the children, hashtag truth always wins. Now, her son is, who sadly found her passed away December 8th, and she was 47 years old. And I'm about to play a clip of video from 2015 where she goes through her house and she's talking about somebody who has been stalking her and watching her and how they have broken in her home. It's actually really, really creepy with what has happened to her. So I'm going to play that for you. I absolutely want to hear your guys' comments and your thoughts about it. So I'm just going to leave this here and tell you guys I love you so much. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to watch this video after, and don't forget to subscribe and let me know again your thoughts below about this. I find this truly creepy, and there's way more to the story that I feel like is probably not going to come out, but I pray.
I'm Brandy Vaughn, and for those of you who don't know me, I have been an activist speaking out against SB 277 here in California under a little bit of heat, and I wanted to document this just in case. I wanted to show some of the intimidation tactics that I've been under. I came home with a friend to my hide key being on my doorstep, open to the key, and the story behind this was a year ago when I bought my house. I hid that deep in the bushes, and 6 months ago I had looked for it because I thought, well, it's probably not a good idea to have a key to my house right outside my door. I couldn't find it, but when I came back from Sacramento that one time, it was about 2 months ago, that the key was on my doorstep, open to the key. That day I had my locks changed, and I called an alarm service, and I installed a $3,000 alarm system 2 days later. So what happened apparently is someone opened the door, the front door, went through the front door, picked the lock, and my alarm went off, and they immediately disarmed it with the master code, which nobody had but me. I made sure nobody else had that code, and they disarmed it at the panel with that code. According to the alarm company, at 3:45 in the morning, somebody entered in through the front door, the alarm went off. They disabled the alarm by putting in the master code right away into the panel. And then at 3:46 in the morning, my hallway monitor sensor went off. So someone went down the hall. And then at 3:48, someone opened my dining room window and then closed it right away. And then, if you notice, the dining room window actually faces out towards the backyard, which is much more private than the front door, which they used to enter.
Sadly, it looks like she wasn't a Christian, and you can see some of the new way, you have and it seems like it's a Buddha statue as well that she has in her home. and a chain that looks like one of these, you know, ohm chains or something of that kind of nature.
That time.
So.
And then they went over to the keypad, entered the code again.
And that's the thing in regard to the truth movement. Like then you know, you see the people that is dying, right? And they're all into all this satanic nonsense as well. And then you never hear about Jesus, you know. That's.
And then left through the front door at 3:49.
They tend to, you know, the truth movement tend to, well, the so-called truth movement, whatever, you know, they tend to don't want to hear about Jesus, but that, you know, more and more, you know, it's just coming through all the alternative box and finding out about Jesus. So that's the real truth movement in regards to Christ.
After the incident, I talked to some security experts who have actually done intimidation for corporations, and they explained a few things. They said, well, A, they were probably tapping your place, so everything I say and do in here is listened to, if not watched. And then opening...
Tapping your place, okay, yeah, okay. Interesting.
Of the back window, because it's a much more private way to get in for future reference, for future visits. When I did return home, and the police came in and made sure nobody was here, and then I came in after the alarm was set off, after the break-in. And what I did notice was they had left this window unlocked, like this. And before I left for Sacramento, all of the windows and doors were locked, double locked actually. I went through twice to make sure that they were locked. So after that happened, I didn't really feel comfortable sleeping in my house again because, of course, they could come in and disarm my alarm whenever they wanted. There wasn't really another way to secure the system. I changed the code, but again, who knows how they got the code in the first place. The security expert is pretty convinced that the house is tapped. My phone is being listened to, my conversation, my text messages, and then my computer, both my computers as well. The next thing that happened actually was with my computer. So one of the things that the police wanted to know was if anything was taken in the break-in. Of course, nothing was because they weren't here to take anything. I did have a computer here in a hiding spot, and when the police were here, I did actually come and look to make sure the computer was still here, and it's here above the microwave is its hiding spot. It's not a place anyone would know to look for the computer, and it's not, you know, especially in being here in only 4 minutes. 2 days later, after that happened, after the break-in happened, I walked into my place to move some stuff out, and the computer was taken from its hiding place and put in the middle of the floor. And so I came back home to pick up some stuff. I wasn't staying here any longer. And that message was there, which was obviously very scary because clearly somebody had been listening in, if not watching, as to where the computer was. So after that, I decided that it would be best to get out of town, and I left town for a couple of weeks and really went off the grid for a good part of that. So after the computer incident and leaving town for 2 weeks, the day that I came back, I had a friend come with me, and him and I arrived at my place and found a ladder open right in front of my door, looking into the windows, the bedroom window. Now, this is my ladder, but this ladder lives in the garage. So it was clear that somebody had accessed the garage, brought out the ladder through the side of my house, opened it, looking right up into the window, and this happens to be the only window that I had blinds open.
So that was quite a message. The security experts said, wow, what a better message than to say we're watching you. And this actually happened the day that I came back into town. So they clearly knew that, well, it happened the night before. They clearly knew when I was coming back. The neighbor who was feeding my dogs came over after half an hour after we found the ladder, and she asked, so what's with the ladder? And I said, I don't know. I mean, I didn't put it there. And she said, well, it wasn't there yesterday. So it means that it happened the night before I came back into town after 2 weeks. So clearly they are watching. The next incident was just 2 days later, and that's in the garage. This Buddha was on the floor.
Yeah, that's a Buddha, all this satanic nonsense. Sadly, the so-called truth movement is many times mixed with all this satanic nonsense.
Normally, the Buddha is pretty heavy.
Why would you have a disgusting, filthy statue like that? Why would you? This is the second one that she, has. That you see.
On top of the dog cage, holding the towel to cover it up at night for the dogs. So it was taken off of here, and there's really no way it could have fallen because, I mean, it's actually really heavy, and if it had fallen, it would have fallen, some different way. But I walked in, and I found it right there on the ground. The pictures were also knocked over. So then 2 days later, I noticed it first through the kitchen window, and it's not something I have ever seen before, but there is a duck. On my table. And when I talked to the security experts, I said, I don't understand the duck. And then it came to me that I had been on my phone having a lot of conversations about people asking me, are you staying at your house? What are you going to do? And I used the term repeatedly, well, I'm not staying at my house. I feel like a sitting duck because they can get in at any time. And, I'm a sitting duck. And so that was actually quite disturbing to come home to.
I wonder in regards of sitting duck and all that, wouldn't you put the duck on the chair, maybe? Maybe it's just more obvious on the table, but sitting duck, right?
Now I have a duck. I have never seen it before. It's not mine. Nobody else is having access that would bring a duck. It's a clear message that, again, they are watching me. And the intimidation is quite...
Yeah, so she made this before she died. As far as I recall, she saw this before she died. And now she's dead. I don't think it was long after she made this that she actually was found dead. So... Now we have another woman that also, but I can't remember her name. As far as I know, was found hanged in her, outside living, I can't remember her name. I can remember, talking about that she would never, he was not suicidal. And yet, she was found, she was going after the vaccine companies. As far as I recall, she was going after, and she was in this interview saying that she wouldn't take her own life. But she was found hanging apparently in the outside. But I can't remember the name. But again, it's so many people are killed and murdered and all that, and
intimidating, and it's quite scary. So after all of these intimidation tactics, it's very hard to feel safe and secure, but
well, that would be one of the reasons why you should have a husband, right? You have she had a child. Where's the husband for that child? It kind of just gives a little more protection having a man, right, in your house, right? Not saying that they couldn't kill you, but it's kind of, if you have a man that kind of, that's kind of a little more protection, right? Just a little more. You would have, you would be probably also more in the house, so maybe the man would be in the house or whatever, so and he might actually think something up, right? If someone is going around in your house and all that, he might have thought out about something in regards to some video camera or something like that, just men are kind of, fingers in regards to that level, they could maybe fix something, a camera up, so, or out in the outside, trying to hide it away or something like that, make it less obvious or something like that. Who knows in regards of how they were, looking into her and all that. That could be, that could be. In essence, they could really, know if someone did something in regards of security cam and all that, of course. They have the technology, right? The powers to be have the technology to do, like, see-through walls and all that, right? It's incredible. They have all the tools, so, but, at least there would be some kind of. You also have the spiritual world that you also have to recall that the spiritual world is in working things. The Satanists can do things as well with the demons and whatnot. It's just so. And that's, of course, also one of the reasons why you need the protection of God. You need to have the good sides protecting you while being in this dark, insane world. So, yeah. So at least you have some kind of protection. Because if you're having Buddha statues and all that, you gotta be kidding me. If you're running, what's your protection? If you're going to run with the devil, and try to stand against the devil, it's just. So.
I'm not gonna go away. I'm not gonna be silenced.
Remember one of these Satanists, and then there was one of these, that was, I can't remember who that was, but he was a long time Satanist, and he came out and became Christian. And one of these Satanists said to him, if you ever come out, in regards to, we're going to kill you. Apparently he had some kind of protection. He was protected on a spiritual level. So at least who was that guy? I can't remember. I remember. I was one of the Satanists coming out. I was listening to a lot of testimonies when I came out of the New Age and all that. And you have real hardcore Satanists also coming out and talk about some of their things. So yeah.
Because these are important issues, and we need to expose what's really going on behind the mandatory vaccination bills. It has nothing to do with public health.
He's just, she wanted to stand on truth. She understood that was, but it seems like she was misled with all the Buddha statues and all that, and it's so sad that so much of the truth movement ends up with Satanism. It's just so sad.
It has everything to do with profit.
And the question is then, are they going to get a chance in the future or something? I don't know. In regards to the resurrection, right? You either have the resurrection to eternal life or everlasting death, right? But God knows in regards to how and this and that and all that, Because who knows? They might have heard the truth multiple times and rejected it. So yet they stand for truth, and yet they, it's just, you can have people standing for truth and yet hating Jesus, They hate Christ, they hate God, and yet they will promote truth. So it's kind of, just.
And I hope that we can all continue this fight. We may have lost the battle, but we still have a war to win.
But, she really did a huge amount of difference, She didn't just not speak up. She knew something, she knew a lot, and she spoke up about it, and she's now dead. Like so many others that dies in regards of
And
But these people are like, you know. Oh, we lost the fan apparently. I guess the battery is empty. But yeah, we have all these whistleblowers. You know, we since 9/11 and I guess JFK as well. You know, all these witnesses and all they just kill. You know, they just kill you. You know, murder you. You know, that's just how it is. It is as it is. You know. Darkness doesn't like to be exposed. And Christians being killed as well. Anyone speaking truth that can hurt them is a target for being taken down. You know, I just
documenting this intimidation, they won't be able to get away with it in the future with me and with anyone else who speaks out.
Well, sadly they do seem to, you know, prophetic thing, you know, of course we should stand against all these things, but, and of course I shouldn't really say but, of course we should stand against it. But overall, this satanic world is moving forward. So, and it will only end when Jesus returns. So, yeah, it's a good question in regards of Jesus, right? Like the Mohammedan, that the last one that died, you know, he was told about Jesus, but again, you know, he at least had the chance to actually accept the real version. The question is, did he do that? Or did he cling to the false version of the Mohammedans, right? Did he, you know, because a lot of Mohammedans just, they know the truth. You know, they've heard the truth. They know what the Christians believe and all that in regards to Jesus and all that. And yet, they're rejected. And can a Mohammedan stand for truth? Absolutely. But, you know, if you do not accept Jesus, you know, there's no salvation. Even if you stand for truth, you know. Like, if you reject the salvation, you know, it's just... Yeah. The only doctor brave enough to tell you this. Although, in regards to the Mohammedan that died, he was talking about in regards of Darkijah-Anders, and then they went into some kind of, which sounded to me like some kind of new age, you know, nonsense and all that, and you know, but then other places, it seems like Darkijah-Anders are like for the Bible, right? And yet then you hear about this thing and. Yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes hard to figure out because sometimes people are moving in the right direction or they're moving, you know, it's hard to figure out sometimes because, you know, when I was in the New Age or the so-called truth movement, well, the truth movement where it mixes in regards of the, you don't want to hurt anybody, you know, you're there for the truth, you know, you're there standing for, but you're promoting garbage that is damaging, you know, like, you know, fake religion pretty much, you know, the Satanism. You're promoting Satanism. Even if you don't want to hurt anyone and all that, you're actually misleading people away from the truth. And that's not very loving. Anyway, let's see what we have here.
Welcome to Flyover Conservative Podcast with David and Stacy Whited, where we break down current events and examine culture through the lens of conservative Christian values.
We began the Flyover Conservative Podcast about 2 years ago, focused really on one main thing.
I guess that's
you would see a narrative
interesting. So conservative, Christian, and they apparently, I guess they will talk to Darkijah-Anders or what?
With the mainstream media, a death ticker happening, and then we were meeting people regularly who weren't afraid of
Why is
that.
it actually, you know, Bri. Doesn't it sound more like an I? No, Bri. Okay, Bri. Okay.
Lives.
Yep.
Some doctors had
Brian,
thousands and thousands of patients. They'd lost none. Some in their 90s without even worrying about it. People that had real answers and were like,
why, Bri? Okay, Bri. Why, Bri?
We're just a couple of rednecks here in Missouri, but how come these people are not talking to these people? And that baffled us to the point where eventually we started a show. Of those shows, over 1,500 pieces of content have gone out, and the most impactful thing that we have ever done, the most emails, text messages, directly connected to lives saved, come from one specific guest. Consistently has answers that will change your life in a way that is so impactful it actually keep you alive, which is kind of
that's kind of important.
Kind of the goal here. And beyond that, he's one of the most favorite people in the whole world to talk to. He's a host of the Dr. Ardis show, and his name is Dr. Brian Ardis.
What's up, David and Stacy, Flyover Conservative Nation? It's great to be back with you.
Our people love you. Our family loves you. You know, when we originally did the first episode we did with you, you introduced us to a word that I felt smarter to know how to say it. It was called remdesivir, and it was shocking. Thank you. I've learned a lot of counties in America that I did not know before we started this podcast with election fraud and all that stuff. I've learned a lot of prescription medications that I did not know before this all happened. But that show and then the protocols that came from it of how people deal with the hospital, realizing that your doctor's not only not your God, not even a God.
Yes.
And how to handle them and how to protect yourself from the protocols that were killing more people than anything else that we were facing. We regularly get text messages, emails from that. My father-in-law, my cousin, my wife, we were able to, we told them they didn't want this, and then they go in the hospital and they were on a remdesivir drip. And they're like, no, then they would begin this process of getting them off that. The people would come back and be like, be recovering. It's like, honestly, if we had done nothing with this show other than have that one episode, it would be worth this 2 years of work. It has literally saved thousands of lives. And then you talk about this every day. I don't know what it would be like, literally, to have that gratification of you know what, hey, I took some hits. I was willing to speak up and tell the truth. But man, has it made a difference.
It has been an incredible 3.5 years to watch people actually finding out that people are getting the message, which I know was being attempted to be censored worldwide. There are so many platforms who are inviting me on to actually discuss the research studies behind the mortality rates of remdesivir, what was actually true versus what Dr. Anthony Fauci was speaking on. And then the horrible aspect that we made the whole world aware of was that at the same time that they approved this or did an emergency use authorization for the drug remdesivir, which was a failed drug in 4 human trials in 4 years prior to the pandemic, it had the highest death toll in the Ebola trial, killed 53% of all people they gave it to, the only drug to kill over 50% of all people. Dr. Anthony Fauci had actually funded that entire study. He would have been notified by the Independent Safety Board a year prior to the May in which he told the whole world it's the only drug that could be used for hospitalized Americans. He would have been told a year prior that that drug was the most deadly toxic drug in that Ebola trial, and 3 other drugs performed better than it did. And that remdesivir drug was suspended from the trial, but that is not what he told you. That is not what he published to all the hospitals and all the medical staffs all around the country and around the world. He said it was proven safe and effective against the Ebola trial. No, it wasn't. It was flat out determined to be the most toxic and deadly drug. And it has been a great opportunity for myself to have people from around the world nonstop contact me, come up to me, hey, I'm only alive because of you. Wow. I've had Hall of Fame NFL players walk up to me when they would see me in airports or at conventions. They walked up to me and said, my 87-year-old father would not be alive if it wasn't for you. I took your information, articulated it back to the doctors, and got him released using the advice about using an against medical advice, leaving against medical advice. And then how many people walk up to me and say, pull out of their purses, pull out of their bags, that they carry with them everywhere they go, a medical directive to physicians form, which is what I supply to the whole world, which tells you and you sign it, you have it notarized, and you give it to all hospitals if you ever have to go, of what you do consent to and do not consent to and sign off on. It's a legal document. And that was something I created to try to protect as many people as possible from being killed by this damn drug. And it has been very rewarding to have people around the world tell you that you saved their lives. But I'll tell you, it's kind of a two-edged sword. I would have never spoken out if my own personal loved one that I admired and adored, my father-in-law, wasn't murdered in front of me and my wife and her family in February of 2020. So it's great to have people tell me that I was an instrument in helping to preserve their lives or their loved one's life. And at the same time, though, it really sucks that I couldn't do it for my own family member. But it was a God thing, I believe, that He allowed me to witness that in a hospital setting and watch the medical industry completely manipulate and lie to my family, and then use force through security escorts to kick me out of the hospital physically. So they could continue their manipulation lies of my family. And they also came to those, unfortunately, and he died 3 days later after I was kicked out of the hospital. So it is very rewarding to have people tell me that the information we've been able to share has improved their lives or saved their lives. And it's a God thing. Very much appreciated. It's very helpful to me because at times it's very lonely to feel like you're on an island and you're the one that knows stuff, have discovered stuff, and you want to make sure as many people as possible can see it, read it, understand it, and then take action from that information. So it's been a big blessing, I think, to many. Thank God.
Definitely, no doubt about it. I know that as people are listening here, they may be thinking, Dr. Ardis, I didn't know about this form. How do I get the form and get it notarized? Where do they find that form?
Yeah, so there's 3 forms I actually had an attorney, Kelly Sorrell, in Fort Worth create for me and for our audiences. It was amazing. People from all over the world have downloaded this stuff. So there's 3 forms underneath the resources tab at the Dr. Ardis Show. Okay. 3 forms that you download. One's called the Advanced Medical Directive for physicians, doctors, and hospitals, and then a Medical Power of Attorney form. Both of those, when you download those, they're free. Just download the PDF and print it. When you print them out, you're going to check off and initial what you do consent to, do not consent to, and then you're going to take it to your bank or a notary and have them notarize that document. And that document then becomes a legal document. You want to keep it in your cars or a copy in your home because if you ever need an ambulance, you're going to want to get it.
Yes.
And so anyway, it's been very, very gratifying to know that so many people have gotten it. And then I just saw on the page too, there's the Grace Care link. You see that right there? It's under the resources tab also. It's been an incredible thing to watch, that out of the birth of just trying to warn people from my dining room table in the media in May of 2020, that there were groups of nurses who reached out to me saying, we want to create advocacy teams. Can we help you keep people safe in hospitals? And that those 2 groups merged into one. It's called GraithCare.com. Priscilla Romans is the CEO of that company. They have 30 advocates now that are serving people in Canada, all 50 states of America, Australia, New Zealand, and Europe. And they are actually protecting those individuals in hospitals nonstop, even to this day. And yes, they're still using remdesivir around the world and in America. Do you know that they stopped calling it remdesivir in hospitals everywhere in America?
Really?
They have been told, do not call the drug remdesivir. You call it Veklury. Do not bring up the word remdesivir, because so many people, when they would say, what drug are you going to give me for COVID? They'd say remdesivir, and they'd go, no, we're not taking that drug. I mean, it's been amazing how far this has gone to prevent so much harm and injury. But that was being voiced by people in every country and in every state. And then the hospital administrators started training all their staff, everybody. Do not call it remdesivir anymore. Call it Veklury. And Veklury is the brand name of remdesivir. And I came up with a slogan early on in May of 2020. I was like, let's see if I can get people to remember how to say it. Because when they would try to repeat it back to me, the hosts, they couldn't say remdesivir. So I told them, just remember, it rhymes with run, death is near. And so that's what people were listening for. It's a word that sounds like run, death is near.
Yep.
Well, Veklury doesn't sound like that. So now they've said, make sure you only use the brand name. If you put up that word Veklury, just so you know, like he showed a second ago on the screen, if you transpose the letters L and K, you get a word Valkyrie. You know what Valkyrie is?
Yeah.
It's an old Nordic term. Yeah, so Valkyrie actually means, it's an old Nordic term. It means chooser of the slain, is its definition.
Whoa.
Wow. Pretty disgusting. Run, death is near is the generic name I gave it. the vectlery name is chooser of the slain by definition, so you can pretty much surmise from just its definition meanings what it's designed for. And this is a play on words they love to do in pharmakia. They like to transpose two letters so that you can't tell it's what they're actually showing you it is. For example, Colton, put up there on the screen, I want you to look up biological ease COVID-19 vaccine called Corbavax, Corbevax. Corbavax, Corbevax. And they transposed two letters in the first five letters so that you can't read that it's actually Cobra Vax.
Oh.
So if you transpose the R and the B, just so you know, Biological E, the company in India who made this COVID-19 vaccine, called it Corbavax. Do you know that they have a product catalog on their website? Guess what they manufacture? King Cobra venom, crate venom, and anti-venom for both. And they've made a anti-COVID vaccine? Yeah, right. Go figure. So this is something that the pharmaceutical industry loves doing, trying to hide what they're really creating for you, even though they're putting it right in your face and just transposing letters so it doesn't read like the actual word it represents, which in this case, the spike proteins of COVID were identified to be cobra toxin and a venom protein in the crate snake called bungarotoxin. Now you realize why a company that manufactures venoms and anti-venoms would be creating a vaccine for a venom-based spike protein. You know what else is insane? Do you know that the FDA, it's called DCGI in India, their FDA, do you know that that government agency approved the Corbavax vaccine, the CobraVax vaccine for all India citizens, December 19th, 2019?
What?
That's before COVID was even announced. And the DCGI, which is India's FDA, approved Corbavax for vaccinations of people in India before COVID-19 was even announced as a pandemic.
Are they prophetic?
Yeah.
Is it like they have a crystal ball?
It's amazing how so many people in federal agencies and government agencies around the world are prophet seers and revelators.
Yep.
It's incredible. Joe Biden, I mean, he knew in November of 2022, he said 100 million Americans will get COVID and be diagnosed with it in the next 6 months. How do you know that?
Yeah.
It's incredible what these people know.
Mm-hmm.
They only know it because they're orchestrating it.
Yep.
Dr. S, let me ask you a question. You know, there's the term we're all familiar with, above all else, do no harm. It's interesting in this era we're in. We just did an interview with the people in the movie The Sound of Freedom that's getting ready to come out. Tim Ballard, Operation Underground Railroad, rescuing children from sex trafficking and these things. And that's we this discussion with because that's happening right now. Everybody looks back and says, you know, Oscar Schindler. If I was alive, you know, in the 1930s, I would have partnered with him. I would have stood up to this big machine. I would have said, or if I was around the 1860s, I would have been abolitionist. Like I would. The thing that Tim Ballard's fighting against, the sex trafficking, there's millions of going on around the world right now, and we all, as a society, kind of turn a blind eye to that. We're more focused on, you know,
TikTok,
the January 6th stuff, or all these, these peripheral things. Not equal to, but like the world is under attack from a trusted system called the medical community. Or pharmaceutical, whoever's funding it, and there's a they behind the they behind the they, but there's still participants that sort of hide behind this phrase of like, I don't know, I was just doing my job. Mm-hmm. We did a clip with Attorney Thomas Rentz. There was an audio recording of a lady referring to the floor they were working on, called it the death floor. Mm-hmm. Where people are basically going to die.
PhD pharmacist who was recording that audio tape.
Yeah.
Wow.
In a hospital.
Yep.
So we're alive in a moment that is like that. This isn't some fringe thing that we've ever heard of, like maybe a dog pound or something. These are the hospitals that are on every corner and every street, and they're reputable, and people speak with them in reverence. How, in this modern society, with so much information available, with everybody's got a phone and a camera, and if somebody jaywalks, they post it online, and this guy should be canceled, can these people get away with that? The people up top, I'm asking this question, the people up top and all of the minions that still see this as going on and just kind of blindly go to work and come home because they still got a car payment to make. How does that happen when they all go into this under the guise of above all else do no harm? What is the all else that is above?
Yeah, I think there's one thing that's been the most threatening to all medical professionals, be it nurses, hospital administrators, medical doctors treating patients who are going along with this narrative. There is one singular threat that makes them do it. And for me, I'm extremely common sense and logical. Like, it has to make sense to me. So there's only one thing, and I've spoken about this openly in many platforms and stages. When people ask this question, Peter McCullough, for example, has said over and over and over, there's about 1 million licensed medical doctors in America, but only about 500, he believes, are speaking out or taking a stance against the narrative. And he always talks about how disappointed he is, and I always correct him and go, I can't even think of 100. I don't know where you're getting this 500 from. I've only met like 30. They're all like the same 30 or 40 guys or girls. So,
and most of them all have white hair.
And most of them all have white hair. You're right. So this is what I continue to explain to people. I read a book about 15 years ago called The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I read that book and then watched all these medical professionals not standing up to their employers and saying no in their hospital systems, it became very apparent very quickly what it was they were most threatened by. Do you know that in that book, The Total Money Makeover, you learn that there's 95% of all Americans live paycheck to paycheck and have credit card debt on average of $15,000 in debt. That includes every medical doctor, that includes every lawyer. And do you know that when I was in my practice in Tennessee, there was a patient of mine who had 8 different title loan stores. And he used to come into my practice as a patient, and he would bring in these checks of $80,000 a week, $120,000 a week that he was depositing. And he'd go like this, you let me know when you need a loan, Dr. Artis. I got you, just bring in your title and I'll give you a loan, a high interest loan. I'd go like this, why do you keep asking me that? I pay everything with cash. I don't do debt. And he goes, well, do you know that 90% of my clientele are medical doctors and lawyers?
Whoa.
Just living above their means.
And I said, what? No way. And he goes, yes, do you know why I like lawyers and medical doctors? They have never been trained how to manage money, and they all have to immediately live a lifestyle that represents that profession, right? So they buy too big of houses, they buy too many nice cars, they buy vacation homes, they have college tuitions with their kids that are way above their pay grade. And so they all live paycheck to paycheck, but then are overextended. And the reason why title loan places love medical doctors and lawyers, he told me, this is 12, 15 years ago, he said, do you know that it is required by them that every year they have to tell their licensing boards for every state that they're licensed in, they have a form they have to fill out every year. And on the form it says, in order to maintain your license for another year or two, you have to tell us, what are your debts? Are you paying on time on your debts? Or are you overexpended, or are there any debts you're not paying up on time for? Or have you filed bankruptcy? They actually hold your license over your head that if you're in debt, you can't have your license. This was, in my opinion, the ultimate threat. You had all these huge corporations now running hospitals, and every medical doctor in those places you think are independent. No, they're not. They're employees. So are all the nurses, so are all the advocates in the hospital, all the staff. So these people knew. They were being told, you're going to follow these protocols or you're going to lose your license and your job. I'm not kidding you two. I've had surgeons from around this country who are multi-decade tenured medical professionals and on the boards of hospitals calling me after seeing my videos and presentations on the remdesivir protocols. They would call me crying, saying that they looked at their own data. They actually retrieved data for their hospital and wanted to see, is the 31% of deaths from remdesivir 10-day protocols, which I was sharing with the world is the published data. They wanted to know, is that true for all age groups being recipients of remdesivir COVID-19 protocols in their hospital? And when they would collect the data, it was exactly 28 to 32% of all age groups, even teenagers, were dying on this protocol. Then they took that data, produced from their own hospital, went to their administrators and to their boards and said to their bosses, these COVID-19 protocols are killing 30% of everybody coming in this hospital. We have to stop doing these protocols. And you know what every single one of those surgeons were told? by their administrators in these conversations after presenting the data. They actually looked at every single doctor and nurse and said this to them. You have till X date to get your COVID-19 vaccine or you're fired.
Wow.
They would call me after getting my number from my producer, call me to want to share with me how I was a hero for them, but now they were crying, telling me they have to tell their wives or their spouses or their families now they can't afford tuition for their children. They have to let go of their vacation home or start selling cars in preparation for getting fired. But it was so few of these people. The majority of people were so threatened by this, my lifestyle is going to be threatened now, I don't have a job, I can't feed my family. That became more important to them than actually standing up and doing the right thing.
A conscience is expensive.
Yep.
Conscience is expensive.
So true. You know, Dr. Ardis, when we were in Miami a few weeks ago, you were talking about nicotine. And I've heard you talk about it another time as well. And in that video, we've had a lot of people asking questions. We have more questions. We really wanted to dive into that today. And, you know, it's kind of a surprising thing because I can remember when you talked about the venom and how people that were actually smokers were not having the same effects that people that were not smokers, which was a surprise with COVID. You know, we're like, okay, how is this happening? And you have talked about it some, but we want to hear more about nicotine and how it's helping people.
We have so much fun with you in these interviews.
We do.
We'll put the link to that interview down below because you just come off stage and you're like,
it was awesome.
You're pretty high energy anyway, but then it's kind of another level. But we'll put that down below. But I've been talking to people about that. But it's hard to articulate because people are like,
nicotine.
So programmed. Surgeon General warning, nicotine will kill you. What's the difference between nicotine and smoking, and why is nicotine beneficial as a antidote?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. I think it would help the audiences right away. I mean, all of us have been conditioned to believe that nicotine is a toxic, addictive substance, and that it causes diseases. So you might as well just go ahead and look this up and show the audiences. Did you guys know that nicotine is not addictive?
No.
Nope.
Did you know that Harvard in 2015, just Google it, Harvard 2015, nicotine not addictive. Just type that in, any search engine. They did a animal model study in 2015 and wanted to find out just how addictive is nicotine. So they put nicotine in the water of animals and let them drink it. No animal ever became addicted to nicotine water. They didn't even care for it. They preferred water without nicotine. They were never addicted to it. They were able to determine, Harvard was, that nicotine is not an addictive substance. So Harvard in 2015 actually submitted FOIA requests to the tobacco giants. And they wanted to know, how did you make nicotine addictive?
Great question.
Chewing tobacco is addictive. Smoking's addictive.
In their R&D papers for all the tobacco giants, this is what they published in the 70s and 80s. They figured out that they could make nicotine addictive by adding something called pyrazines, a chemical, to the tobacco plant and the nicotine itself. Because they found out nicotine in tobacco wasn't addictive, so they had to figure out a way to make it addictive. So they added a chemical called pyrazines. And pyrazines is a chemical often used to actually create aromas or smells in a substance. But pyrazines are extremely addictive. And this article that he's showing up on the screen right now,
I see that right there. Yep.
Talked about pyrazines making nicotine addictive. Okay, so audiences worldwide, you've all been lied to about many things. You've been lied to for many decades now that nicotine is addictive and that nicotine causes diseases. It does not. At all. They've been lying to you. I didn't even know this until this last year. I've had to do my own investigative research into this topic because there was no way that this could be true, right? Unless we've all been lied to. This isn't the only lie you've been told. We should do a whole show on this in the future. Okay. I did shows on this on my platform 3 years ago because when people wanted to know, well, what other lies are the medical profession telling us outside of remdesivir is safe and effective? Well, did y'all know that salt has been told to all of you for your entire life that it increases your risk of high blood pressure, strokes, and heart attacks?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Do you know that's a lie?